In the early hours of February 8, 1855, the quiet towns of Devon, England, woke up to a scene that should have been impossible. Across the fresh blanket of snow that covered the countryside were footprints, a single straight line of hoof-shaved prints stretching for miles, over rooftops, across frozen rivers, through dense forests, and even appearing on the second floor of homes without disturbing the snow around them. A trail so bizarre that locals believed only one thing could have made it, something not human and not of this world. This is the unsolved mystery of the Devil's Footprints. The morning of the discovery was quiet, cold, and completely still. Devon had been hit with a heavy snowfall the night before, the type of snowfall that wipes the world clean, leaving no tracks, no noise, just untouched white. But when residents stepped outside, they found something waiting for them. A long, unbroken trail of prints stamped perfectly into the snow. Each print measured about 4 inches long and 3 inches wide. But what immediately disturbed the locals wasn't the shape, but the pattern. The prints followed a single file line, as if whatever made them had been walking on one leg, or deliberately placing its feet directly in front of each other. Something no known animal does. And the lines of tracks didn't stop for anything. They continued straight through fields, over high stone walls, across rooftops, and into barns, and back out again through openings too small for a human to fit. Reports soon estimated the trail stretched over 40 and possibly up to 100 miles. To many, this wasn't the path of an animal. It was the path of something with intention. The most unsettling part of the phenomenon wasn't where the prints were found, but where they shouldn't have been able to appear at all. In one instance, the tracks approached a tall wall and, without any break in stride, continued along the top of it. In another, the prints moved across the roof of a house in a straight line without any signs that snow had fallen from the shingles. Locals found tracks leading up to their homes, stopping at the front door, and then reappearing on the other side, as if something had simply walked through the door itself. There were even claims that the prints passed across frozen rivers without cracking the ice, yet still leaving a perfect indentation. Eyewitnesses described seeing prints leading into narrow drainage pipes and emerging on the other end, pipes far too small for any creature larger than a rat. But the prints were clearly not from a rat. Villagers, frightened and deeply religious, began to panic. Some refused to leave their homes at night. Others prayed for protection. In the mid-1800s, people genuinely believed there was only one explanation: that the devil had walked among them. By the end of the day, newspapers across England were reporting on the strange phenomenon. Letters describing the prints circulated for months, and the fear spread faster than the story itself. Rumors claimed that the children had followed the tracks only to vanish into the woods. Others said that the prints led to a farmhouse where the livestock died mysteriously overnight. There's no evidence for these stories, but the panic surrounding them was very real. Some believed it was a sign, a warning of divine punishment. Others feared something darker had come to Devon. For a brief moment in time, the quiet countryside transformed into a place of dread. Many residents slept with their doors barred. Others refused to look outside at all, terrified they would see whatever made the tracks standing in the snow. Over the years, investigators and historians have suggested countless theories, but none fully explained what happened that night. Some claim the tracks were made by an animal, perhaps a badger or a donkey, but no known species walks in a straight, single-file line for dozens of miles, or climbs over rooftops and tall walls without leaving any disturbance. Others suggested a group of pranksters created the tracks, but the scale of the phenomenon, tens of miles across multiple towns, would require dozens of coordinated participants and all working through the night across freezing terrain without being seen. Another theory suggests atmospheric conditions created strange thermal prints in the snow, but this doesn't explain the hoof shape or why the prints appeared on rooftops. One of the more unusual explanations is that an experimental balloon broke loose, dragging a device across the snow that stamped the prints as it moved, but the prints were far too precise, too intentional, and covered terrain a balloon could not cross. The truth is, every explanation comes with holes that are almost as strange as the footprints themselves. And that's why the story has endured for nearly 2 centuries. So what really happened in Devon that night? Something crossed over 40 miles of snow without leaving drag marks, without slipping, without breaking stride, and without disturbing objects around it. Something entered and exited private homes without opening doors. Something that walked across rooftops and over walls and through fields as if obstacles simply weren't there. Whatever made those footprints that night left behind no other trace. No fur, no feathers, no broken ice, no damage, nothing. Just a long, unbroken trail that vanished as suddenly as it appeared. For the people of Devon, it was a reminder that even in a world governed by science, there are events that refuse to be explained. And nearly 170 years later, we're still asking the same question they did on that frozen morning. What walked across the snow that night? And where did it go? Whether the devil's footprints were an elaborate hoax, a misunderstood natural event, or something no one wants to believe, the mystery remains one of the strangest ever recorded in English history. Thank you for watching.